What's going on, guys? How are you guys doing today? Today I'm bringing you a guide for the Archon Firebird set. It's a new set for pushing 90 graders or higher. What do we need for this build? I'm bringing you guys now. We want the Shantoto set. So both sets are required, Shantoto's Force and Shantoto's Will. We need on our wand the following stats. We want intelligence, we want CDR, and vitality is grade 2 for more toughness. On our Shantoto's Force, we want intelligence, we want crit, we want critical hits grant arcane power. If you can roll higher than mine, 4% or 4 arcane power on critical hits is the best that you can roll. So you will also need it for the higher grifts. In my video I'll show you later, I only did 75 grader with very low equip, but if you want to go on 90 or higher, 4 arcane power on crits will be required, of course. So the stats we want here is intelligence, crit, as I said, 4 arcane power on critical hit, and you can either go on CDR or you can go on vitality, depends on your toughness. Next items, we want a full Firebird set, except the offhand. So what we want is the Firebird talons, the hands. We want vitality on it, we want vitality on it, we want crit. And if you think you have rolled a bad one with resource costs, don't be so wrong with that, because intelligence, crit and resource cost is also great as well. I'm explaining it later. So the shoulders, what do we want here? We want intelligence, we want vitality. CDR is very helpful for this build, and resource cost reduction is also great too, but 15% life is also good. On our helmet we want intelligence, we want vitality, we want crit. On the chest, intelligence, vitality, and we don't want vitality. Vitality is good too, but reduced damage against elites is much better. What we also want on our legs is intelligence, vitality, and armor is great. All resistance is great as well, might be a little bit better and stronger. On our boots we want intelligence, we want vitality, we want armor, and all resistance, if you can roll all this, is great too. So what we want next on our neck, we want crit. If you can, because we want the fire damage, try, and also we want, if it is possible, to get arcane damage. So we have two options here. If you can roll crit and either fire damage or arcane damage on your necklace, do it. So that means if you have crit on your neck and you also have arcane or fire on your neck, you can roll on your wrists either fire or arcane, depends on the other stats. So if you have on your neck arcane, you need fire damage on your wrists, because fire damage is required for your Shantoto's build and the Shantoto set, and without it you can play it. So you need at least fire damage on either of these two, and if you can also go on arcane on one, but only if you do have fire damage already. Important. Next one, the comparison rows. What do we want here? We want intelligence. Best stats would be crit and CDR if you can roll this. These would be the perfect stats. Secondary stats on all, try to get physical damage or something like cold or arcane, because cold and arcane are some really bad killers on really high grade rifts, and these might be very bad. We want on our other ring the obsidian ring or the zodiac. You can go on your obsidian ring in here, or you can use the halo of Orlise. Depends on what stats you need and how high your rings are rolled, of course. If you have a bad roll of your halo of Orlise, then cube it, else switch it. The obsidian ring, you want attack speed, is mandatory for this build. Crit chance, also very important, and CDR, really important for the cooldown of the Archon. So I will explain in a few seconds. Also, what else do we need here? We need the Fasula's improbable chain, the belt waist here. So when we use the Archon, then we automatically gain 45 Archon stacks. 50 Archon stacks would be better, of course. And we want intelligence, we want vitality, we want 50% life, and all resistance would be perfect in here. So very important. Also, you don't need any sockets with all resistance. Intelligence is mandatory in here because you go on full DPS with this build. You can, if you have some really bad toughness problems, switch some gams with all resistance, but intelligence is way more helpful to do way higher graders. On our normal gems, on our legendary gems, we want the Bane of the Trapped to get just some higher DPS. We want the Bane of the Stricken, like the standard build for this legendary gems. And we want the Gogok of Swiftness, because you gain attack speed and dodge chance, and the way higher you build this gem, you get way more dodge chance, and this also gives you a huge toughness amount. You can also switch the Gogok of Swiftness with your defense gem. I don't know the name, what is it here? This esoteric alteration. This gem would also be helpful if you have some bad toughness problems, but if you play this build correctly, you don't need the esoteric ring, esoteric gem. You can just use the Gogok of Swiftness because of the attack speed. Way more helpful because of the Archon. Yeah, let's switch over to the skills. What we want here, we want the Arcane Torrent with a static discharge. You can also play with a Fire Rune in here, so you take 15% less damage every second you channel increases amount by 5% up to a maximum total of 25% damage reduction. This rune is also very helpful if you have a good CDR. If you have bad CDR or some CDR problems with your Archon, static discharge might be better, because each missile explodes into 2 piercing bolts, and that just means your CDR and your Archon cooldown is way better. So if you have here like 20 seconds on your cooldown left on your Archon, it just means that you just split it up way faster through your Arcane Torrent, because here you get 2 piercing bolts, and each bolt reduces the cooldown from the obsidian ring, and that means that you just can get your Archon way quicker if you use static discharge. But as I said, if you have a good CDR, you can also play with Flame Ward, might be more helpful and also gives you way more toughness. So we want Ice Armor next. We want Crystallize because of the melee reduction, very helpful. The Archon we want with the Teleport rune, because with it you can just blink in the Archon form just like all the time. I'll show you later. We want the magic weapon with deflection, because you gain a protective shield for 3 seconds that absorbs 4% of your life in damage. Just means in your Arcane form you can just be like insanely strong and you don't get any damage in it. Normal teleport we want 2 because we want a safe passage to take 25% less damage here, and we want the explosive blast with chain reaction because of the cubed offhand. I'll show you in a few seconds. So we also want the unstable anomaly, we want the evocation for quicker CDR, we want the blur, decreased damage taken, and we want Audacity because we are with the Archon build in a permanent range, melee range of all the enemies, and this is just mandatory for way more DPS. So what I said, because of the explosive blast, the chain reaction. Chain reaction, we cube the orb of the infinite death. Each time you hit an enemy with an explosive blast, your damage is increased by 5% and the damage reduction is increased by 15% for 6 seconds. So that means that if you go to your explosive blast and hit the enemy, stack up to 4 stacks, you get 20% increased damage reduction and increased damage. Oh no, only 15% damage reduction and 20% increased damage. So Explosive Blast is mandatory to play with if you are not in your Archon form. What you want to, you want the Swarmy because the bonuses from Archon stacks now last 20 seconds after Archon expires. That means if you have a good CDR and you can overstack your Archon, if you have this belt in, you just have the double amount of stacks if you double stack it. I'll show you in the video play in a few seconds. And that gives you a huge amount of DPS. As also said, you want the Obsidian Ring of Zodiac and the Halo of Alizé, just depending on what stats you have. And if you had the Halo of Alizé, you want crit and the socket in here, and CDR would be great, or a rare damage. But CDR might be a little bit better, of course. So let's move on. As I can show you in the video, I did the video with very low equip. I had 7,000 intelligence in the video. I also had 2 dexterity items because I just wanted to test this build, and I also mastered a 75 grader. That means this build is so overpowered. You can go on 75 graders or way higher with just the only you need to fill the requirements of just pure equipment. So if you have just the right items in here and there and the right things cubed, you can master, I guess 80 would also be possible with just the standard equipment. And if you meet these requirements, everything is possible with this build. And to show you this build, I'll show you a little sneak peek of the gameplay on the 75 grader I mastered with it, and it's also the easiest way to get the achievement for this new, I'll show you, conquest to the Divinity, reach Gradle Rift levels 75 solo. Really simple with this Firebird build, and we'll see in a few seconds, and I'll show you in the video more. Back in the video, and that's the gameplay itself. So, also, as I said, 7,000 intelligence only, really low damage, toughness also very low. The weapon, only a 2k weapon, dexterity item here, dexterity item there. Really low the equipment, but also very easy to handle it. to show you this build, what you want in this build or how you play this build. You want elites, just searching for elites, because each time from your 6 bonus set you hit an elite, you automatically gain 50 stacks of your Archon Firebird set. Very, very necessary for this build, and you just move on for elites. So also on 80 graders, 90 graders and all above, and also on the low graders, you just want elites. So as in the video, you want elites here and you want big groups. So you stack in, you move on, and just searching for elites. Here another elite, there are groups, and each time you hit an enemy with this fire blast here, this fire blast comes from your fire rolled on your bracers or on your necklace. It comes from your Chantodo set, and each time you hit an enemy with this, each enemy gains 1 of this stack. And when you hit an elite, the elite gains 50 stacks, and each enemy in a radius grants you another stack. That's why you want only elites and heading for elites or very, very big groups. But the elites are way more important for it, because the 50 stacks are so high and the damage is so hard, you just go hitting like a truck. As you can see, damaging the elites, I have the stacks on here, and if your Archon just runs out, you just spam your static discharge, waiting until the cooldown of your Archon is ready, and then you just switch in your Archon form and you will just go on with that. If you proc this Firebird 2 set bonus, doesn't really matter, because it also reduces the CDR of your Archon for a few seconds. And yeah, that's the gameplay itself. You just head out for some elites. If you don't have elites around and your Archon is running out, just spam your static discharge. You don't need a big group for it. Might be a little bit more helpful, but not really mandatory. Just, yeah, that's the build. I hope you had some fun with the video. If you want to see the full video gameplay itself, I will link it up somewhere on top there. Yeah, and that's it. Have fun, and if you want some more videos, if you want some more guides, if you want some more gameplays of anything, if you have some questions, just write in the comments down below, and I might bring more videos in. So see you up then, and don't forget to subscribe.